Welcome back. It's time to talk about another health issue, this time albinism. And the United Nations in 2014 actually declared June 13 of every year as the International Albinism Awareness Day. Albinism is a genetic disorder that is inherited from at least one parent, and the medical condition, which affects 1 in every 17,000 people, is characterized by the lack of an essential pigment called melanin. And we'll be talking more about this condition in Nigeria and how it's affecting the number of people that it does affect. And we'll be talking with our guest, who is in our Abuja studio, the head of media and communication, National Albinism Center, Afam Kasim. Kasim, good morning.
Good morning.
Nice to have you here this morning. Now, tell us about, how would you describe the state of a person or living with albinism in Nigeria?
Well, persons living with albinism in Nigeria are persons that the nature of their skin has made them albinos. They are albinism, like I want to say, is not a disease. It's a genetic condition, and both parents must be a carrier of the gene that makes an albino. Albinism is not a disease. It's not a cause. It's not a punishment from any gods, from your village or from anywhere. It's just a genetic condition.
Well, I would say albinism is not as, in Nigeria, the situation perhaps is not as bad as in some other African countries where you find that they say, you know, they take albinos and just wipe them out by killing them. But what really would you say are the challenges that people living with albinism in Nigeria are facing?
Yeah, what happened in other parts of the African countries, like in Tanzania, Malawi, and some other parts, it happens here, just a trickle of it. I remember in 2005, in Benue State, Makurdi, a mother of an albino, 9 months after the birth of her child, her husband relations threatened her that if she don't do away with the child, she'll be thrown out of her husband's house. So she was convinced, and they helped her to chop off the head of the child. Though the woman is serving a jail term as it is now. We have some couple of other issues. In Kwara, 2011, a body of a lady with albinism was found. Part of her body were taken. I remember last week somewhere in Nasarawa too, a member called me that somebody threatened her daughter, that she was going to use her daughter for ritual. As soon as I get the call, I asked her to use police to arrest the woman until I get there. But when I got there, I have to settle the matter, to make her to write on the king that anything that happened to that child or any other albino child should be held responsible. So it happens here. It's just that most of the times when it happens in the hinterland, we don't get to know it. Though it's not happening like it's happening in Tanzania or in Malawi. It's happening here.
How prevalent is this story that you just told, that an albino can be used for ritual purposes?
I was in Tanzania in November because I want to give the scenario of Tanzania because that is what is on the front burner now. I was in Tanzania in November last year, and what I discovered was that the perpetrators of this evil crime are members of the family, because we were able to interview some surviving victims and some members whom their ward have been killed for rituals. They have a belief in Tanzania, by the witch doctors anyway, that body parts of albino can make them rich. I want to say here, if my body part can make me rich, by now I would have been a multi-millionaire. It's a life on the pit of hell. There are some part of Africa, even in Nigeria, that they believe that when you sleep with a person with albinism, it will cure HIV. Those are myths, they are lies from the pit of hell. So, I mean, it is wickedness of humanity against humanity.
So aside from all of this myth surrounding albinism, what are the actual challenges that people with this condition face in Nigeria?
Well, our major challenge is issue of our visual impediment. Every albino child you see today are visually impaired. The reason being that we don't have enough melanin. The melanin is the component that gives you coloration on your body. We don't have enough, or we don't have it at all. And the other issue is issue of skin cancer. We have two types of albinism. We have oculocutaneous albinism, that is a full-fledged albino. It's affected your skin, your eye, and your hair. And we have ocular. You can be as black as charcoal, and yet you are an albino because you are a carrier. Then it also affects your eyes. That is why it's called ocular. So that is the type of albinism we have. Even in the oculocutaneous, we have about 4 types. OC1, OC2, OC3 to 4. So in Nigeria, we have also tried to demystify the wrong information that people have about albinism. Like I said before, it is not a disease, it is not a cause, it's just a genetic condition.
Okay.
How the eye problem you're talking about, how do you all deal with that, since it seems to be the major problem of albinos?
Yeah, we, like albinos in schools, the children with albinism in school, we encourage the teachers and the school proprietors to identify these children in their various schools, help them, put them in the front row of the seat, in the front seat. Going through school, you have to stand up even from your front seat, go to the blackboard to copy notes. By the time you go and read 1 or 2 lines from the blackboard, getting back to your seat, you would have forgotten 1 or 2 words that you read. You see, it's a tough challenge. But we encourage teachers to help our albino children who are in school. Either you give them notes ahead of the class, you also help them to identify their mates in class who can copy note properly. Because it is not a fault of theirs, it's just a genetic issue. So we encourage teachers, parents in particular too, they should identify their children's challenge. They can help the teachers. They start from home, do a lot of home studies with the children, then go to the school, talk to the teachers, because we discover that most teachers don't know the issue in albinism. We went to a school in Abuja here to see one of our children in one of the public schools in Abuja here. We discovered that the child is seated at the back seat of the class, and the teacher was complaining, this child don't know anything, she don't speak, he's selected and all those. No. We said, where is the child? We discovered him at the back. We said, no, you are not doing right to this child. Bring him to the front.